ho, fancy meeting you here. I'm glad you've come. I wanted to tell you the story about Henry and the flying kipper. Have you heard that story before? No? Well, here it is. It's in a wonderful, very special 20-ton brake van, just like this one. Special, you say? It doesn't really look that special to me. Well, let me tell you the story first, and then you can make your mind up. Henry had been given the job on a very cold wintry morning of going down to the docks to pick up the kippers. The train was called the Flying Kipper, a bit like the Flying Scotsman, and the Fat Controller had told him if he did the job properly, he could have the express the next day, so Henry was going to do a good job. He'd hooked up and all the kippers had been put away by the seaman. He stood on the station and the whistle blew. He tried. His wheels slipped on the icy rails. He slipped again, but slowly and slowly Henry got going, and you could hear the rhythm as he moved up the line. And if you listened down to the back, you could hear the trucks singing. Trickety-chop, 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 they would go. That's a really good sound. Henry was flying through the night, and if you happened to look through your curtains in the evening, you'd see the white smoke coming out of his chimney, broken only by the bridges as he went along the railway line. He was doing really well. The one thing you don't know about the Flying Kipper is a bit like the Flying Scotsman. The fish have to get to the town so that we can have something really good for our meals. Kippers for breakfast, fish and chips, fish, or my favourite, fish fingers. Magic. As it was the Flying Kipper, the trains on the railway in front of him had to go into the sidings. Now my grandfather was a guard, just like me. He was in the sidings there. And the nice thing about a brake van like this is, in the winter you can go inside and it's really, really warm. There's a wonderful fire. And the nice thing about being a guard is, the driver and the fireman would come along and have a cup of cocoa with you. And they'd sit there and they'd talk about the rugby or the football or whatever was going on. Now then, my granddad looked at his watch, and sure enough he said, "Oh, time for the Flying Kipper." And as we looked out to the back, we could see the Flying Kipper coming down the line. It streamed round the corner. The fireman on the train said, "The signal's clear," and sure enough, the signal was up. But the points, well, you know the points that changed the line? They hadn't changed. The snow had got stuck in between them. And instead of the Flying Kipper going straight down the main line, the Flying Kipper came straight into the sidings. Well, the driver flew off that way, the fireman flew off this way, and the guard was straight out of the train. And then there was an almighty smack. Poor Henry lay on the floor in the snow, feeling very, very sorry for himself. The brake van had broken into 1,000 pieces. But the Fat Controller came along, stood on his drum and said, "Well, Henry, this really wasn't your problem. So I'm going to send you to Crewe for a new boiler." Henry was really made up. But what do you think happened to the brake van? That extra special brake van, I told you that. All those pieces. They were taken away down the line to the workshops in Bury Bolton Street. And there, my friends put them all back together again. So you can come here and you see, I can tell you the story of the Flying Kipper brake van. So after all, you see, this is an extra special brake van. Lovely. Thank you very much for coming to see my story, and I do hope to see you on the railway next time.